You've decided you're booking the Haven on Norwegian's Aqua and you paid a pretty penny for it. Good decision. Now here's the thing nobody tells you. Knowing you're in the Haven and knowing how to use the Haven are two completely different things. We spent a full sailing in there, documented everything, and this is the video we wish existed before we boarded. Okay, so let's start at the very beginning because getting the booking right is where a great Haven experience either starts or quietly goes sideways. So we booked a penthouse suite. That's the most common room category inside the Haven on the Aqua. There are higher level rooms available, and yes, some come with additional perks, but the penthouse suite is what most Haven guests book. It's what we booked, and it's what we'll be walking you through today. So everything in this video applies to the penthouse level. If you are staying in a higher suite, just consider this a floor instead of a ceiling. So a quick look at kids on Haven, because this can trip you up, and I want you to understand this during booking. So the main Haven pool deck, families are welcome. There were kids everywhere on our sailing, as it was spring break too. So no issue there, but the upper deck is ages 16 plus. So no guests under 16 up there, and that's where the hot tubs are. So that's an adults only space. We did see NCL enforcing it on our cruise. They were kind, but they did ask them to go back downstairs. So if you're traveling with grandkids or kids and you want to use that upper sun deck as your quiet retreat, that's actually possible. Okay, so now on to packages. And this one, just pay close attention because NCL has shifted over the years. So the Haven fare itself, I mean, it's been a while since we cruised NCL because we haven't had kids with us recently, but the fare doesn't automatically come loaded with packages like it used to. So you most likely have free at sea included at booking. Most bookings do. If it's not included, you can purchase it after you book. But either way, here's what you need to know about what's actually in it. So as of November 2025, what free at sea gives you is an open bar, which has a big list of wines, beers, and cocktails. It's not premium. We'll get to that, but it is a solid list for most people. We were actually impressed. It comes with some specialty dining credits, so the number depends on the length of your cruise. So the longer sailings, the more specialty dining credits that are included in it. And it comes with 150 minutes of basic Wi-Fi on one device at a time. So you have to pay attention to that. You can always log off one device and log on another device, but it's one device at a time. And then there's a small excursion credit. So the gotcha is that, you know, it's not actually free, right? Nothing ever is. So when you purchase the package, you have to pay for the drink piece, $28.50 per person per day in gratuities for that. And, you know, that can add up fast on a longer sailing. You also have to pay, if you keep the specialty dining credits in there, you have to prepay a $20 per person per meal services fee. So on top of that, so it's just know that. I know that there are ways to customize this package, so just work with your travel agent if you want the drinks and not the specialty dining or whatever, because it's not actually free. So there's some things that have to be paid for at booking. So factor those numbers into your total cost before you decide whether it makes sense for you. Okay, so now, if you happen to like the premium stuff like we do, there's a second tier that launched in 2026, and it is called Free at Sea Plus. So this pretty much upgrades everything in there. So you're getting a higher end spirits, better access to a better wine list. There's discounts on bottles of wine. You can get Starbucks unlimited, but you can only order one drink at a time. I've been doing that all week. They have Red Bull juices, bottled water. So the Aquapana and Pellegrino, you can actually get bottles of that at the restaurants and bars now. And then your Wi-Fi, which this was really nice, upgrades you to premium. It's Starlink, which is streaming. So and it's unlimited. So it's still one device, but it's the higher speeds. Also, and this is a big one, your daily gratuities are prepaid. So if you want additional dining beyond your included credits, you're getting 50% off those extra meals as well. So for guests who drink regularly and like to drink the good stuff, this package has real value in addition to all those other benefits. But here's the gotcha on Plus, and this is an important one for a specific group of travelers. So some guests prefer to remove the daily service charge and tip staff directly in cash. You can't do that with Free at Sea Plus because the prepaid daily gratuities are built into the package, so they can't be separated. So if tipping your own way matters to you, just kind of know that going in before you upgrade to that package. Once you've sorted all your package, the next thing on your list is pre-booking specialty dining, and timing is everything. For our sailing, the specialty dining booking window for Haven guests opened at midnight Eastern, 130 days before boarding. That window can vary by cruise, so confirm yours. It's usually on your booking document, but treat that date like it matters because the popular restaurants fill up fast as well as the popular dining times. I mention this as if you're the type of person who stresses about everything being confirmed and set before you go. You want to make sure you understand these dates. So the Haven does have its own pre-concierge team. You use them. They can handle special dining requests, room customizations, and anything you want flagged before you board. And here I'm going to go ahead and pop up their contact information because I didn't find it all that easy to find online. And we did not get an email prior to boarding like some of the upper suites do. So hopefully that's helpful. So I'll give you our honest experience here. We reached out to the concierge ahead of time with 2 requests. We asked them to swap the bubbly in our room for a white wine, and we had a specific pillow type request. When we boarded, neither one was there. It happens, it's a heads up, not a complaint, but the concierge team did get every one of our dining reservations corrected. And as we're traveling with family in a group, that was kind of a big deal. So that part was really seamless. I would make sure you take the time to do that. That's my takeaway. Get it all set up with them. And then for special room requests, you can send them in, but just ask them to double check everything when you get on board. That should be fine. So one more note on specialty dining, because I think this is worth noting and maybe a little bit different than how other lines do things, but NCL will let you book as many specialty dining reservations as you want during pre-booking. There's no hard limit. But when you actually dine, you need to have the credits to cover it, or you pay for it, right? So if you've burned through your included credits as part of free at sea or anything else, or your status, you'll be charged the cover charge plus gratuities, and that'll get billed to your stateroom. So book what you intend to use and also keep track of it. They did implement no-show fees recently, so make sure you know your cancel window. We were told on this cruise it was 2 hours prior. And also our daughter discovered that you have to be on the ship's Wi-Fi in order to cancel if you don't actually go to dining services and cancel it. So yeah, she was off the ship and realized she wasn't going to get back in time and tried to cancel it and could not. So 911 to mom, we got it taken care of. But also NCL does not release all reservations online before the cruise. So there will be some available once you board. You just have to go kind of get in that long line to get that taken care of. Or here in the Haven with your concierge. So last booking tip, and this is a good one for wine lovers. NCL does allow you to bring wine on board, but they have to be 750 milliliter bottles only. You cannot bring any box wine or other types of alcohol or drinks or water. If you have free at sea or free at sea plus, you're covered with no additional fee when you bring that wine on board. But if you don't, you have to pay a corkage fee, which is currently $15 a bottle. And this is a gotcha. It's got to be able to be carried with you. You cannot put it in a checked bag, so it's got to be what you can carry on board. So that's worth knowing before you pack. So the Haven experience doesn't start when you board the ship. It actually starts the moment you arrive at the terminal. Haven guests have their own dedicated check-in line, and once you step inside, it opens into a genuinely impressive place. It's spacious, it's calm, it's completely different energy from the main terminal. And this is Miami. This is your first signal that you're in a different program. We were offered the option to head upstairs to a private Haven lounge while we waited, but we skipped it because the ship was already boarding and we wanted to get on board and start having some fun. So we made the call to stay with our escort and go straight in. No regrets. And that escort, she was easy to spot. She was carrying a Haven and Suites lollipop sign, just like a little paddle, leading us right up the ramp and into the ship's entrance. Once our ship cards were scanned at the entrance, we were handed off on board to another Haven escort, a separate person. Their only job at the moment was getting us into the complex. Inside, we were guided to a comfortable seating area for our orientation. This is where the Haven team walks you through the complex, what's here, what's available, the hours, the entertainment schedule for the week. They also hand you a paper form to fill in your specialty dining reservation preferences. It's low tech, but it works if you haven't already done it. So kind of take a breath here. This is a good moment to get your bearings before the week really begins. From there, we moved on to the concierge desk, and this is where our pre-cruise work paid off. There were 3 concierges working the desk, plus a representative from the spa. I walked up, I gave him my cabin number, and without missing a beat, every one of our dining reservations had already been corrected, exactly as I had requested from the pre-cruise email. They handed me a clean confirmation sheet on the spot. So that is the system working exactly the way it's supposed to. Another thing to know, typically your room won't be ready immediately if you've boarded in the morning. We were told it would be available soon, but we were welcome to drop our bags in our room, head to our muster station, so that's exactly what we did. After our muster, we made our way back and the room was ready. The room was gorgeous. Welcome to Haven Penthouse 14812 on the Aqua. Nice coffee setup. Big drawers. Oh yeah. Refrigerator. Let's see what we're stocked with. Nothing. I'm sure that will come later. Beautiful TV. Beautiful, comfy looking bed. Got a nice dining table, lots of paperwork. It is a rainy day in Miami, unfortunately, but we have a really nice looking patio. Room from the other side. And the makeup table. Blow dryer, let's see. Oh yeah, not too heavy. That's good. Love the huge sink. Beautiful shower with bench. Lovely Liasatana. This will do. Toilet area. And one thing as far as storage, we do have, is that bottom drawer? Yeah, 2 big drawers in here. That's better than I was expecting. And just a little bit of space up there. But I want to flag something. A bottle of champagne was chilling in the room, which is a lovely touch, but we had requested before the cruise that it be swapped for white wine. The swap didn't happen. We mentioned that earlier in booking tips, and here's the real world confirmation. Room level customization requests are best effort situation. The fruit was delivered perfectly. The champagne, same story as the white wine request. Make the ask, but don't anchor your mood to it. Your butler can sort it all out. Speaking of which, this is when our butler Walter stopped by to introduce himself. We have live footage of this interaction, and it's worth watching because he walked us through something that sounds small, but genuinely matters on the Aqua, the light switches by the door. There are multiple switches. They're not very intuitive. He took the time explaining what the controls were, so pay attention to this moment with your own butler. It'll save you fumbling around in the dark later.
So,
okay.
Just put, the lights. Just put this one.
Yep.
And then when you got the side, just press one up, and then for long press for the bright.
Okay.
Get the bright
okay.
of the lights, and then for the
To shut it off?
shove it
All
down.
the way down.
Dimmer, just
Long down, okay.
Okay.
long press to the.
Okay.
Okay, so
And then how do you, like, this doesn't,
just touch.
oh, as soon as you touch it,
That's just
then-
the thermometer.
Then the do not disturb sign, and then the makeup room.
we'll
right
turn
there.
the light on.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there is a green here, like the same other ship, but this one is more high tech.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a touch screen. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Very good.
Thank you. Walter also walked us through our afternoon canapé options. Here's where you want to be specific because there is no printed menu that we saw. He'll ask you what you like and your answer kind of shapes the whole week. So we went savory, and because of some suggestions that we had seen in other places, here's a sample of what we know is available, and over the course of the week we've actually gotten to try all of these. So tell him what you want, be specific. That's the whole point of having a butler. He did offer unpacking services, but we didn't take it up on him. You know, it's not one of those things. I like to know where my stuff is, but we have his card, we have his 5-digit phone number, and he encouraged us to let him know whatever we had a need, we were confused about something, to give him a ring. I've got two more things before we moved on. So both are important. So first of all, bags. Our bags arrived much later than we expected since we boarded around 11. It was closer to 4:30 in the afternoon. And notably, the bags for our other two family members in non-Haven staterooms were delivered before ours, which not a problem. So being in the Haven doesn't necessarily guarantee faster luggage delivery. Why I say this, if you're stressed about having what you need for the first night's dinner, if you're an early diner, save yourself some grief. Pack your dinner outfit in your carry-on. Simple fix, and we'll give you peace of mind. And the second point, this is a big one too. You need to know your benefits before you board. So if you have status with NCL or Sapphire, NCL used to make this pretty easy. They would leave physical coupons in your stateroom. So the number of specialty dining vouchers that you had, your laundry credits, behind the scenes tour access, wine tastings, you would get all of that in your room in the envelope, and then you would just exchange those as you went throughout the week. And that system is gone. Here's what's replaced it. And it's confusing enough that I actually sat down up in the Haven counter and just to understand, like, how's this work now? Because it's been a little while. If you pull up the Norwegian app and look at your benefits, you see what comes with Free at Sea and Free at Sea Plus, but your Latitudes program benefits, Sapphire, Platinum, Diamond, Ambassador, they don't appear in the app. It doesn't mean they're missing. What they told me is that the new system attaches your benefits directly to your ship card on their end. They can see them, you can't, not in the app. So what we did discover later on in the week is that you can see these benefits if you use one of the wall information screens. Check it out. So we figured something out. If you log in here, you can see your Latitudes benefits versus having to go bother anybody. You log in, put your room number in, give it a hot minute. But what I noticed, what I don't see on my phone, which is like my Latitude complimentary wine comes with, I've got one more, I've actually used our two specialty dinings. I have 3 meals left here, but Latitude stuff also shows my laundry. So if you want to, you can check the screen and log in with your card since everything's attached to this. Maybe that'll work for you. So what this means in practice, you have to know what you're entitled to and to ask for it. As a Sapphire Latitudes member, my laundry is covered, but there's no coupon in the room. So how it works is when you send in laundry, you're going to write Sapphire or whatever your level is on your laundry ticket, and that is how it gets covered because they can check that in the system against your room number. So let's talk about drinks, one of my favorite parts, and specifically let's talk about what's actually free because the word free gets tossed around a lot on cruise ships, and the Haven is no exception. Here's the honest answer. In the Haven fare itself, almost all fares include Free at Sea, and you pay the gratuities as mentioned before. The days of automatically bundled packages that are all extensive are largely behind us. So let's start from the bottom and work our way up because this is where a lot of guests get surprised on day one. So what really is free? Let's just say you remove the Free at Sea package, didn't pay the gratuities. What do you actually get? Tap water, brewed coffee and tea, iced tea, lemonade, and sometimes, we didn't always see it, juice will be available at the buffet or indulged food hall during breakfast and lunch hours. So that's your list. Everything beyond that requires either a purchase or a package. Now, I think most people opt to keep the Free at Sea plan in their fare versus removing the gratuities, so let's just assume you keep it. Now, here's an eye chart up over here of what is in Free at Sea versus Free at Sea Plus. There is fine print in here that matters if you don't want to be surprised. So I will put the full link to this document in the description of the video. Screenshot it. You can be really geeky and print it like I did. For me, it's a lot easier to do that. And then I know what kind of tequila I can get top shelf for my margarita. You might thank yourself later for that. So now let's talk about the Haven Bar because this is the jewel of the complex and it's worth understanding exactly how it works. First, and I want to be crystal clear, the Haven Bar does not give you alcohol for free. If you don't have a package or you aren't going to pay for it, you don't get a drink, full stop. So if you remove Free at Sea, you're going to have to pay for drinks and you'll see the pricing on the menus that we posted. What the Haven gives you is access to some of the best bartenders on the ship. And they're not just bartenders, they're entertainers. I know a bunch of people will back me up on this. They're genuinely good at what they do. They'll make you pretty much whatever you want. Last night, I handed them a recipe of one of my favorite cocktails. It was something way off menu. And he made it without blinking. He just looked at me and laughed and said, only in the Haven. This interaction alone is part of what you're paying for. The bar itself has 20 seats. It's intimate, which is the point. There's a full menu on the bar, and it's worth picking up and looking at it because it's structured in a way that I really appreciate. It shows you the price for each item, whether you have no package, whether you have free at sea, or whether you have free at sea plus, and it'll flag anything that's above and beyond free at sea plus as well, because there's some top shelf stuff. So there's no guessing, there's no surprises, the math is right there. Oh, and yes, we asked about the Veuve Clicquot, and yes, we had some. It's here. One thing the Haven bar does not have is food. They just have some little bar nuts every now and then. So if you're up here mid-afternoon and you want something to eat, step outside to the pool area. They have a great restaurant. They're typically open noon to 4. They have a solid menu that is worth checking out. If it's between 12 and 2, you can just go to the Haven restaurant for lunch. Now, 2 things I want to flag about drinks in your stateroom, because both of these caught us a little off guard, and I know other people mentioned it as well. So first, room delivery. You can't have drinks delivered to your stateroom, package or no package, without being charged for that service. If you want to bring a drink back to your room, you walk up to the bar, carry it yourself. Plan for that. Second, the minibar. Our fridge was completely empty when we arrived, and it stayed that way. It was never stocked at any point during our cruise. And I know Penthouse rooms above, you may have some stuff, but we did not. However, what they will do if you ask, they'll keep pitchers of lemonade, iced tea, ice water in your room. We didn't go that route because we don't drink that, but we would pick up Aqua Panna or San Pellegrino bottles from the bar, and we kind of built up our own stash over the week, so we always had the water that we wanted in the room. They also left us 2 plastic, I think, Dasani waters per day, which was small, but appreciated. And one more thing, the coffee machine's water reservoir was refilled for us every single day. Small detail, but big quality life difference if you're a morning coffee person. When it comes to wine specifically, the Haven restaurant is where you want to be. There's an extensive wine list available for bottle purchases, and if you have free at sea plus, you get a 40% discount off that list. This is real money on nicer bottles. Beyond that, everything on the free at sea and free at sea plus by the glass list is available here, along with spirits from each tier. The full bar experience right at your dinner table. And finally, a few ways that you might actually score something genuinely complimentary as far as drinks on this sailing. If you have Latitude status, watch for the Latitude's cocktail party invitation. It'll come, don't miss it, typically earlier in the cruise. The Haven also hosted a captain's welcome event. Ours was the day after boarding, which was a sea day. So watch for the invitation in your stateroom. These are the moments where you'll find a drink in your hand without reaching for anything extra. Beyond that, there's wine tasting, specialty events, premium experiences available throughout the cruise. Most are chargeable, and some get a discount if you have free at sea or free at sea plus. They're worth looking at if that's your thing. Just go in knowing they're probably not part of your package. One last note on ultra premium spirits, the really top shelf stuff like Johnny Walker Blue. There is a separate list for this, and if you have either free at sea or free at sea plus, you'll get a discount off that list. You're not getting them free, but you're not paying full price either. So the free at sea chart lays this out clearly. Another reason to study the document before you sail. So let's move on to food. All right, so Haven specific food. So when people cover the Haven restaurant, they almost always lead with dinner, and dinner is great, but you're missing 2/3 of the story if that's all you look at. So we're going to walk you through all 3 meals, because the way Haven handles your entire day at the table is actually one of the better arguments for being up here. So let's start at the beginning with breakfast. We've had a couple of breakfasts in the Haven restaurant now, and we have some good footage to show you of the space. One thing worth noting is we tend to drift in at sort of odd hours, either early, mostly early, and it's been generally quiet, even though it's spring break. So no crowds, no wait. It's just been super easy. So that's a much different experience from fighting for a table in the buffet on a sea day. But before we go further, let's address something our subscribers have asked about directly, and that is dress code in the restaurant. Honestly, we found it sort of all over the place and what people are actually wearing, especially this week with it full and lots of kids on board. But here's the official read. Nice shorts are perfectly acceptable even for dinner. What they do not allow is swim attire or flip-flops. They say at any meal. The best way I can describe how most guests are actually dressed, I would call country club casual. So it's a step above resort wear, kind of put together, but not formal. So like a nice polo or blouse, clean pants or shorts, real shoes. And this is at dinner specifically. You won't feel underdressed in that, and you won't feel overdressed either. One more thing before we get into the meal themselves, no reservations are required for any meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. You walk in, that's it. On a ship where specialty dining books up weeks in advance, it's a genuinely appreciated perk. Now the menu. The Haven restaurant menu does not change throughout the cruise. They are looking to introduce a special at certain meals and certain times, but we did not experience that this week. The same selections will be there on day 7 as they were on day 1. This matters, and we'll come back to it when we talk about specialty dining, but kind of file that away for now. Here's something that genuinely impressed us that I haven't seen highlighted in other Haven coverage. The Haven restaurant is open for lunch every single day, and on our cruise it was noon to 2 every single day. So whether it's a sea day, port day, every day. That has not been the norm for ship restaurants that we have seen. So especially specialty restaurants won't be open for lunch at all on port days. That's just what we've seen. So we were really impressed that this was available to us every day. And one of the things that was also really nice is on port days specifically, they flex the breakfast schedule. So if the ship arrives early and guests want to go ashore, they've opened early, which is really nice. They're actively working around your itinerary rather than making you work around theirs. That kind of operational flexibility is worth calling out. It's a detail that matters when you're actually living on board for a while. Dinner runs every night. On our cruise, it was 5:30 to 9:30. No reservations, no pressure, just show up when you're ready. The dining room is beautiful. The service has been very attentive, and it's a lovely way to end the day. But here's the honest counsel, because the menu doesn't change. If food variety is important to you over a longer cruise, you need to be intentional about your specialty dining reservations. The Haven restaurant is exceptional, but it just doesn't rotate. So use your specialty dining credits to build variety into your week and treat the Haven restaurant as your reliable anchor when you want something familiar and effortless. One feature Haven guests have that others don't, you can have specialty restaurant meals delivered directly to your stateroom. That's a meaningful perk on a day where you just want to sit on your beautiful patio, have dinner out there, and watch the ocean. But the way it works is this. So the meal is delivered and charged either to a specialty dining credit if you have it, or to your room account as a cover charge, standard process. But here's the thing to remember, I mentioned this, drinks are not part of that delivery. If you want wine or a cocktail with your in-suite dinner, you need to go pick it up from the bar yourself. With great news, in Haven is just a couple floors up. Anything delivered to your room from the bar will be charged, package or not. We covered that in drinks, so just making sure you remember it here. Room service. Let's set expectations clearly here, because we went in assuming the Haven would have an elevated option, which was how it was labeled on the site. But the breakfast cart in our stateroom was identical to what our family members had in their non-Haven rooms, which is fine. Same cards, same selections. We did ask the butler about this. We did not see any upgraded room service offering specific to the Haven. What he said was different is, well, you don't get charged for it. So that charge applies to standard stateroom. So it didn't show up for us. So that's really kind of the elevated room service definition. But here's a little detail. If you want something that's not on the card, just write it in. We did this a couple times. We wrote in cottage cheese, berries, whatever. It arrived without any issue. As well, our kids staying in other non-Haven rooms, they wrote in a couple of things and they were delivered as well. So I'm assuming that just works. So if you want something other than what's on there, as long as it's not crazy, sounds like they'll bring it. Another note, order room service from your butler directly. We thought we would be saving a little hassle for our butler if we just called room service directly to order, and then they would let him know when it was ready. But they informed us that we would be charged the delivery fee, even if you're in the Haven, if you circumvent your butler. So just note that. Just go ahead and use your butler. And of course, every afternoon between 2 and 3 p.m., our canapes arrived. We'd already made our request to Walter, which was savory. We asked for BLTs. We asked for cheese plate. As you can see, we're just getting a whole variety of stuff, and it's all been perfectly what we asked for. If you missed out on our earlier conversation about how to set those up with your butler and what to ask for, scroll back to the Embarkation section. Being specific with your request makes all the difference in the world. So now on to entertainment and things to do. But before we dive in, just a quick framing note. The Aqua is a huge ship and there is an enormous amount to do. I am not covering the ship. We are covering specifically what Haven gives you, the access, the perks, the spaces that are yours as a Haven guest. But with that said, let's get into it. When you arrive at orientation on Embarkation Day, you'll be handed the entertainment schedule for the week. It looks like this. Take a few minutes with this. Plan your evening around it. The shows on the Aqua are genuinely worth seeing, and knowing what's coming helps you build your week intentionally rather than scrambling night by night. Most of the main theater shows on our sailing anyway were 7:30 and 9:30 if that helps you build out your dining plan. Now, show seating. NCL has recently eliminated the ability to reserve seats for any show on the ship. It's gone. So for most passengers, that means arriving early and getting in line. For Haven guests, it works differently. It's one of the better perks of being up here. For any show in the Aqua Theater, you don't line up with everyone else. Instead, you arrive 45 minutes before showtime, head to deck 6. It's the left side of the theater right by the Belvedere Lounge. It's kind of by the casino. The Haven concierge team will be there waiting for you, and they let Haven guests in first before the doors open to the rest of the ship. Just remember, it's the theater shows specifically. Seamless, no jostling, no saving seats, no stress. And fun fact, The Price is Right live is an Aqua Theater show, so the same rule applies. Show up at deck 6 meeting spot 45 minutes early and you're golden. No ticket, no reservations, just be there. So an important caveat here, because again, only applies to the theater. If you want to catch Sid Norman's Poorhouse, comedy shows, or anything outside of the main theater, Haven status doesn't get you a line advantage. So you'll want to arrive early and queue up like everyone else. Plan accordingly if those are on your list. So on to the spa, and I want to be straightforward with you. There's no Haven-specific spa access on the Aqua. If you love the thermal suite, hydrotherapy pool, treatment rooms are important to your cruise experience, look into the spa day pass or thermal suite passes separately. That's a separate purchase, just worth knowing before you get on board. However, and here's one I genuinely did not expect, tucked right inside the retreat pool complex is both a finished sauna and an ice room. So a sauna and an ice room, steps from your pool deck, that's a spa quality amenity built right into your Haven access. So with that said, let's go ahead and talk about the retreat pool deck properly, because this 2-story complex is one of the most significant benefits of being in the Haven, and it deserves a proper walkthrough. As we said earlier, the upper level, adults only. We covered this in booking tips, but here's the full picture. 2 hot tubs, plenty of seating throughout, 6 umbrellas that are actually movable, so you can position your shade exactly where you want it. That's a small detail that makes a big difference on a sunny afternoon. Now the lower level is family friendly and is where the infinity pool lives. It's beautiful. More seating down here, the cabanas for those who want dedicated shade, and the retreat pool bar serving drinks throughout the day. Lunch is also served here from noon to 4, and on our sailing, the food was genuinely good. Doug had the burger and I had the sesame fish sandwich with wasabi mayo. That fish sandwich earned its mention in this video. Let me just say, check out the pretzel bun. So, pro tip. On a port day, when you're not getting off the ship, this deck is extraordinary. Most guests are ashore. We literally had this space almost entirely to ourselves today. Infinity pool, sauna, ice room, lunch service, a drink from the bar. If you've already seen a port on a previous sailing, or you simply want a peaceful day at sea, staying aboard and living on this deck is a genuinely excellent choice. By the way, the Haven elevators, while they're not entertainment or a thing to do, it is a nice feature added to this ship. From the Haven complex, you can pop right into the local on 8 or indulge food hall pretty quickly. You'll just need your key card to activate the elevator, but it is a nice shortcut to the aft rooms on the Haven. Now, the Haven Lounge is best described as large, very comfortable living room is what I call it. There's plush seating throughout, quiet atmosphere. All the chairs are in little collections for a family. It was remarkably calm in here, even on sea days. If you need to get out of your stateroom, maybe to read a book, catch up on some writing, just decompress without energy of the main ship, this is a great spot. One practical note, we only found one power outlet here in the lounge. Maybe there's more, maybe we need to go digging, but if you wanted to come up here and work for a little bit, just get there early and claim that one. And right alongside the lounge is the Haven bar. We've shown you a little bit about this. 20 seats around a beautiful circular bar. We've talked about the bartenders already. Everything we said stands. There's 4 of the best on the ship. They'll take care of you. During the day and early evening, it's relaxed and easy. By around 9:30 p.m., a little bit livelier crowd. fun energy shift, but a lot depends on your fellow guests. But surprisingly, a smoky cocktail is an effective conversation starter when the bar isn't too busy. One honest observation during our sailing, we did not see any live music or entertainment programmed into the Haven Lounge or Bar. It's a beautiful space that would really benefit from it, so maybe pop that in your comments. But a pianist, a guitarist, something ambient, it's just not there right now, but it would be a really nice addition. Outside of the Haven complex, there was one place on the broader ship where we saw Haven priority specifically indicated, and that was the brand new Aqua Coaster. You can access the Haven line on deck 17, which is one floor below the public access. We show you where it is here. There is a dedicated Haven line for the coaster. It's easy to spot, easy to use. If the Aqua Coaster is on your list, Haven gets you to the front. We found this to be the only public activity on the ship with a visible Haven priority line, so don't go looking for it elsewhere and be surprised if it's not there, at least, as of March 2026. Also, at every port stop, Haven guests have priority disembark, and the logistics here were super clean and easy. So when you're ready to go ashore, make your way to the Whiskey Bar on 6. The Haven team meets you there, walks you directly to the entrance of the security screening area. No hunting for a meeting point, no confusion. It was very, very seamless. One clarification worth making, though, if you're doing a ship-organized shore excursion, you need to follow the instructions for that excursion on your ticket. So meeting point, timing, and assembly. Haven priority depends entirely upon where the excursion meeting point is. If it's off the ship, then fine. Haven Access will help you get off the ship. But if your meet point is on board, you need to go with the rest of your group and follow your excursion instructions. And that's Haven entertainment activities, the things that are specific to you as a Haven guest. There is a tremendous amount more to do on this ship. So that's just it. If you're trying to understand exactly what your Haven Access gives you day to day, this is it. Okay, now we're on the last segment, the odds and ends. So these are the few things that didn't fit neatly into any other category, but are generally useful to know before you board. So let's get started with a question we get asked constantly. Who do I ask for what? You have 3 service contracts in the Haven. You have your butler, your concierge team, and your room steward. So here's what we look at, the simple breakdown. So the butler is kind of your food and beverage person. So in-suite dining, specialty restaurant, delivery, canapes, all of it. But the practical reality is your butler is frequently in and out of your room. They're right there in the hallway every time I step out. So if you have a quick question about anything, even if it's technically someone else's department, just ask. They'll field it and send it to the right person. That's exactly what happened when I asked about the iron. He handled it. Don't overthink it. The concierge desk is your logistics team. So specialty dining reservations, show access coordination, port disembarkation. If it involves a schedule, a reservation, or getting off the ship, that's them. And your room steward handles everything inside your stateroom. So extra pillows, different blankets, more towels, more hangers. They're your person, and they're up and down the hallway all day too. So she's been great in routing us to somewhere else if we needed. But the good news is all of these teams up here do a great job cross-communicating. At least we've had that as our experience. So you can't go wrong. Now, this next section, just tipping. I want to give you the facts and just let you make your own decisions, but the daily service charge that's added to your account covers the general gratuity pool, and your room steward is part of that pool. Always tip more if you want, but they do get something. So your steward is covered through that standard gratuity process. But your butler and your concierge are not part of that pool. They are not receiving a daily share of that service charge if they've taken good care of you. So if you have used them, and for us, we've used both our butlers and concierge, or both butler and concierge multiples many times this week because of all the corrections we needed with dining and that type of thing. So a tip at the end is appropriate if you've used them. So those are the facts. What you do is entirely up to you. Also, several of you in comments in our previous tips and trick videos want to know, what is the temperature on the ship in the Haven area? So here's what we found. So in my opinion, the retreat lounge, especially on the concierge desk end that's by the pool doors, can run a little warm. We're in the Caribbean. It's over 80 degrees outside, and those pool deck doors, they open and close all day long, especially with all the kids on board. So the warm air finds its way in. It's not extreme, but it's worth knowing, especially if you're sensitive to heat. But the other Haven areas, the restaurant, the lounge, they were really comfortable throughout, kind of the end of the hall away from those doors. And in your room, it's perfect. You set it and forget it. No complaints at all there with this new technology. This next section, I'm just going to call it tech in the Haven room. And this is going to seem ridiculous, but it's voicemail. we had a voicemail on our phone, and I just want to tell you, I struggled trying to figure out how to listen to it, and I spent a lot of years in technology. So I'm going to show you a quick video here, how to get your voicemail on your phone. Okay, so I struggled with how to figure out, see this voicemail, this flashing button up here, so we have a voicemail. If you hit this button, then you go to my phone, and then you hit this button right here that looks like a little old-time recording thing. Push that.
There is one
There you go.
new message. Press 1 for messages. First message
That's good.
received.
Lastly, I'll call them the bed panel switches for the windows. So here, Doug is going to walk you through this one properly, because there's more functions here than you'd imagine, and it's very important to understand how to close and open these things so you can see.
So this panel exists on both sides of the bed. They're exactly the same. The top set of switches is for the blinds that go down and up. The arrows will show you which way is which. The arrow that is not filled in is for the sheer. You hold it down until it starts to move, then you let go, and it will go down all the way. Now the same is true for the darker blackout. Just hold it down until it starts, then let go, and it will go down. The second set of switches is for the horizontal curtains that are on the balcony door. For the sheer ones, if you want to close it, you just hold it down and let go, and they will close, and the same goes for the darker curtain. Hold it down, let go, and it does get dark in here when both of them are closed. This is really a blackout set of curtains. You can sleep in here during the day if you want to. The next set of switches is for this nightlight. To turn it on, lift it up, and this nightlight that is right above the bathroom door is blue, and if that's the only one you have on, that's how we normally sleep, with just that one on. Turn it off. The next one is for this little bed light. Lift up to turn on, and it comes on, of course. And the next one is just for the general, all the rest of the lights in the room. If you want to hold it on, lift it up once. They'll start to come on. If you want them brighter, then you lift up until they're all the way bright. And the same goes for the dimming. Just push it down and they will start to dim until you got it adjusted where you want it. And those are the light switch tricks.
And finally, disembarkation day. This will vary somewhat depending upon your departure port, but here's how it worked for us and what to plan around. The Haven restaurant opens at 6 a.m. on disembarkation morning, so you can have a proper sit-down breakfast before the chaos of the ship waking up around you. So take advantage of that. Staterooms have to be vacated by 8 o'clock. That applies to everyone on the ship, Haven included. Once you're out of your room, you can head to the Haven Lounge and relax. It's one of those moments where being in the Haven really pays off because it isn't so chaotic. While the rest of the ship is navigating crowded quarters, trying to get their breakfast, long lines, you'll still have your quiet comfort of the Haven up here. When your luggage is cleared and you're ready to go, the Haven team will escort you off the ship using the Haven elevators. Your departure window runs anywhere from 7:30 in the morning until 9:15 at the very latest, we're told. So you do have flexibility to choose what works for you. If you can carry your bags yourself, you can walk off whenever they're ready to just start the departure. But if you've checked luggage, it will be priority, and you'll put it outside the night before, just like any other cruise. It'll be waiting for you in the terminal when they have called for priority disembark. And that is the Haven on Norwegian's Aqua from the inside out. 8 categories, every perk we could find, every practical detail, because that's what we'd want if we were watching this before our sailing. So here's what we'll leave you with. The Haven is generally worth it to us, but it's worth it because of the people as much as the places. The butler, the concierge team, the bartenders, they are really what make this experience feel different from the rest of the ship. The spaces are beautiful, the access is real, but honestly, the service is the heartbeat of it all. If you're already booked, save this video, come back to it before you board. The details about show seating, the deck 6 meeting point, who to tip, what to ask the butler versus a concierge. These are the things that make the difference between a good Haven experience and a great one. But as always, I'm going to ask you, the watchers, what did I miss? I know I've missed something. Feel free to drop a comment. Our community is fantastic and they love to help each other out. So if I've missed it, throw it out there so you'll help everybody. And as usual, if we're helping you and you like our stuff, subscribe and turn on notifications so you'll see what we come next. So we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.